Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Adit Rahim and I am part of Meranti. And today we're at the National Innovation and Commercialization Expo. We have a podcast that's dedicated for NICE as well as iNation Global Summit 2025. I'm joined here by two of my really, really good friends, Richard Ker and Syed Ahmad Al-Haddad, otherwise known as YB Altimet. So, Richard, you have a booth here, huh?
Yes.
I was offering the same thing to Ahmad.
Yeah, I saw. I took over. I took over.
Okay, but understandably, because Ahmad has shifted from from being part of the public limelight and pushing offerings, services, and all that,
Right.
to serving the rakyat. So
Cool.
understandably.
Yep.
And Richard, you are also serving the rakyat in a different manner,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
Ultimately through translating what would have been very, very heavy tech-driven narratives into something that's a lot more palatable, a lot more understandable by everyone.
Yes. Simple and relatable.
Simple and relatable.
Yeah.
And I like the way how you've presented your content, especially the evolution of now, bringing people through a journey, bringing people through storytelling experience.
All right. Yeah.
It's not a hard sell, soft sell, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the call to action is very, very strong.
Yeah. That's right.
So I've known Richard since he has been part of the tech ecosystem the last 10, 12 years easily.
12 years,
10?
roughly. Yeah.
We first met during Bakra.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then Ahmad I've known for a while. He was my junior back in high school. We both went to Bukit Boys School, right? We both were.
Wow, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
So we both had, I think, a very, very good educational exposure over there that shaped us to be community driven, community engaged, as well as not shy to speak. I think that's part and parcel of Kong Lam and Puan Aisha's drill to us as BB boys. Okay, so I'm just going through some notes that my team have prepared for me, because this was quite a surprise. I was supposed to interview each of you.
Yeah, I know.
individually,
Yeah.
right?
That's suddenly the plan changed, right? Yeah.
But
No, that's okay. That's
but
okay. That's
bringing
okay.
the both of you together, and
Yeah.
I'm here trying to understand how you have shifted from artist to politician, and how you have shifted from a tech-oriented executive to a
Yeah.
technopreneur.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Richard, tell us your story.
So actually my background is in electronics engineering, very technical person. So after my graduation, I actually spent about 10 years living in Beijing in China. So I was there for 10 years working in the IT industry, education, and then eventually over the my last few years in China, I actually ventured into an accidental entrepreneurship.
Accidental.
Yeah, because like many of us, we try to solve our own problems. So what happened back then was I had an iPod, and then one day it was broken. And long story short, I was able to fix it because I was referring to a tutorial on YouTube.
All right.
Yeah. So then I offered that as a service. Then started with a simple classified ads that grew to a website that became a global business,
All right.
which actually served customers from all around the world. I was actually fixing their iPhones. So that was the accidental entrepreneurship that
So you started that back in Beijing.
I was in Beijing, yes.
Wow, okay.
I was serving customers from all around the world. Basically, it's a one-person business, doing the content, doing the fixing itself, doing the fulfillment. So it's like an end-to-end e-commerce business. So that actually sparked the interest of really venturing into entrepreneurship. So when I came back to Malaysia back in 2013, of course, I joined Magic, so I was part of the whole ecosystem. And I wanted to contribute that knowledge and idea to the ecosystem about building a global business. So of course, fast forward to today, about 3.5 years ago, I decided to start my own social media agency because I saw the gap in the market that there are a lot of amazing entrepreneurs, businesses, but most of them struggle in terms of telling their stories. So I believe I can help in some ways, and I think we have managed to help many companies today to grow their traction online.
And telling stories is also his expertise.
Yes, of course.
Ahmad.
Yeah.
He tells stories in so many different ways, but through his music, most importantly.
Yep.
And funnily enough, he was also in Batra.
Oh, okay.
He
Wow.
actually closed
yeah.
up with Ralph, remember?
Yeah, I think I remember that. I remember. Yeah.
He performed
Yeah. That's right.
during
That's right.
closing. And it was amazing because he was together with Ralph and the acoustics. The percussion punya
Yeah,
group.
Diplomats of Drum.
Yep. So Ahmad, how did you take your storytelling notion into music, into business, and now also into politics?
I think anything that you do, be it public service, be it entertainment, be it private companies, you have to have an element of storytelling, first of all. And I'm fortunate enough to be a fan of a genre that I feel can tell any story that it wants. It can tell any story that it wants. Because there is not a topic that I can think of that doesn't have a hip hop song that's telling the story. Put it that way.
True.
So it's from the most shallow of experiences to the deepest of topics. So I think that's where it stems from. It comes from that, being a fan of music and discovering this particular genre that can do that. So I think that's when I saw the pattern that there is an element of storytelling that you don't. It's not that you have to do, but you should do in anything that you do, in everything that you do. I mean, in terms of if you're in the private sector, you have to do marketing and branding,
Of course.
and promotion.
Yeah.
It's storytelling.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to translate your mission and your vision. As cliche as it sounds, it's translated to the wider public via marketing and promotion, and it becomes your branding, part of your brand. So I think that's where it all stems from. Personally.
The both of you, what you're doing really, really great, and what we also want to present for viewers as well as to the people who are here at iNation Global Summit, as well as the National Innovation and Commercialization Expo, is the fact that whatever you do, you must make it relatable to people,
Yes,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely.
right? And from that perspective, Ahmad, I just wanted to understand, how did you go from artist to
Businessman,
entrepreneur
entrepreneur and businessman.
to technopreneur, right? The Reset app in particular. What drove you?
Oh, okay. All right. I think it started off with my idols who are entrepreneurs in the music industry, right? And first of all, if you are an entrepreneur, you already have a quite high risk appetite.
Yeah.
And investing or being an entrepreneur in the creative industry, there's even more high risk because it's more high returns. So the threshold was very high. And of course, you invest in tech, it's also a high risk, high return kind of field to throw your money into, So it came from that. And I know, of course, there are several hip hop musicians that invest in tech. I think Nas invested in Ring or Nest before it was sold to Google, I think, or Amazon. Nas was one of the investors. And there are a few of them that invest in tech companies lah. For example, Jay-Z is in Tidal. And so having idols, you want to try and imitate them. First they invest in music, then they diversify to mitigate risk. But it's not really risk mitigation because it's still risky, right?
Yeah, but
Being tech.
it's moving to a sustainability as well.
Correct. So it stems from that. It stems from that, basically.
So both of you have innovated, generally, right?
We try.
Innovated from from what you started out doing into something that you're both passionate about, and really, really drive now through your very, very own unique kind of ways. But how do you guys actually see culture and innovation coming together, and not just blending, but also evolving? From your perspective, Richard.
My perspective, yeah, I guess just like what Altimet mentioned, right? We want to not entirely duplicating or following what they're doing, but getting inspiration from, especially in the Western countries, because in many ways they are ahead in many things. But then I noticed that some are not applicable in our culture and the way our way of life, for example. So I guess that is where the gap is. Like we have so many companies or tech companies coming from all the different parts of the world, and we know for the fact that when they enter certain markets, they cannot be successful because they're just trying to replicate everything that they have built.
One size fits all kind
Yeah,
of approach.
yeah, that's right. So that's why I feel this is where the great opportunity is, especially for a country like Malaysia, where we are so diverse, we are so exposed to different cultures, which gives us a lot of edge in building something meaningful and purposeful. So in a sense, in what I do, I've seen how people tell stories in Western world, and I felt that because we have so many great stories on the ground, I wanted to do the same thing. So I did it in my own way, but of course, taken into consideration of the local context of the local culture. So I guess that's a simpler way of me explaining of what I do and how I adopt the things that I do based
Blending
on
culture
our
into
yeah,
innovation.
yeah.
What about you, Mike?
Okay, I don't think culture can evolve, culture can progress, culture can exist if there wasn't innovation.
Definitely.
You know, because
That's true.
from culture arises art and you know and stuff like that. So if there's no innovation, there's no evolution. When the culture is static, it will die. I mean, like even for us, at the most basic level for human beings, if we see something not moving, the first thing you assume is it dead?
Yep.
You know, so it's an integral part of culture. I was listening to BFM yesterday. This is not a plug. I listened to BFM yesterday, and they were talking about slang.
Slang.
Right? They're talking about slang and how slang demarcates certain demographics.
Yes.
You know, age or generation or race and stuff like that. So they had an opinion from a language expert. You know, so people are complaining. Then language experts say, relax, it's nothing to be concerned about because this is language which is part of culture. It's language doing what language does,
Evolve.
which is evolve.
Yes.
You know, it is what it is, right? A good example would be in Malay language, there's this word called amboi.
Amboi.
Amboi can mean two things. Amboi can mean wow,
Yeah.
like amazement,
Yeah.
or it can be very sarcastic.
Amboi.
You know, but because our culture has evolved and a lot of the Malay speaking world has recognized wow, so amboi now becomes almost exclusively a word or a way to describe something that is tinged with sarcasm.
Okay.
You know, before this, it used to be if you watch like old movies that were like you're talking about black and white, amboi is wow,
Yeah.
or it can be sarcastic. But now it's almost exclusively that because of innovation, because of innovation driving culture.
Okay. So you know, you were a magician before, and then when magic and magician from magic, and when Magic and Technology Park Malaysia came together and became Meranti, we brought along some of the great quips from Magic, things like from ideas to impact.
Yeah.
Okay? You're very, very familiar with from ideas to impact. But ideas again, right? Ideas, if you don't tell it well enough, if you don't put it in a storytelling manner that reaches out to the majority, people really cannot see how that idea can make an impact. So over the years, what would be one idea that both of you individually had that you have seen a great impact now?
You mean-
Your own personal idea, aside
Personal
from the,
idea.
aside from the
Okay.
iPhone.
Okay.
iPhone
Maybe
venture.
I go first lah. What I noticed, right, because what I've been advocating online is about storytelling over the last. Actually, storytelling is not even new in Malaysia. I mean, even in the context of the world, storytelling has been around for the last 30,000 years.
That's how you
That
pass
long.
down.
Yeah, the
from
knowledge.
generation to
Yeah,
generation, yeah.
that's right. I mean, storytelling hasn't changed, but with the medium has changed from from scriptures until today you have your digital devices. So over the last few years, I've been advocating storytelling on my social media platforms. I feel I noticed the last 12 months, I see more and more people are talking about storytelling now. I see people on LinkedIn. No, they're trying to also advocate in terms of their storytellers, which I have not seen before. So meaning that idea, at least on a local context, somewhat has been spread, I guess. because I see more and more people are talking about they are storytellers, especially if I check their LinkedIn profiles, which I have not seen before. So maybe that's the one idea that I felt that already giving an impact in some small ways.
So, storytelling, started from an idea, now impacting people's lives.
Yes.
Okay, that's your perspective.
Yes.
What about you, Mike?
The idea, the innovation, is it? I'm talking about innovation.
What idea have you had before
That I've
now,
had?
that
I
now?
thought it's somebody else's idea.
Sorry?
I thought it would be somebody else's idea.
No. Your own idea
Ah.
that you've seen creating an incredible impact. Something that you probably didn't think was going to pan out, but actually panned out.
One unintended one was kita jaga kita lah.
Yes.
Kita jaga kita lah. I mean, it started out as a song for compilation album. Then the album got shelved. Then it became the title for a soundtrack. And then during COVID, you had I think the civil society or the public took it and made it their own lah. In terms of there was this hashtag with the white flag movement and all that. So that was unintended lah, and some people are saying, Altimet, you came up with this phrase, and they're not giving you credit. I say I don't mind, because it's being used for something that is I think I like very much.
For good lah, right?
For good, yeah, for good. So it was really unintended lah.
That's nice.
That was it's not. I don't think it's an innovation, but it was very surprising.
But it is an innovation in the sense that, all this while, I think we as a society, especially Asians, we're very, very self-preserving. Number one. First and foremost, you must take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
Right? Second, yourself first. Third, baru okay, family. And then society.
Yeah.
Right? So when you came up with that kita jaga kita, and I think you've also adopted that, during COVID, you espoused the same virtues, kan?
Yeah.
So because we have to stop being so individualistic and start realizing that we're part of a community.
Yeah, we're part of something
Right?
bigger.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely. And whatever we do has a ripple effect. Right? Maybe small, maybe big, tapi there is some effect to the community, whatever we do. Okay. Next, challenges and opportunities. Things that you guys have gone through to make yourself what you are today. Okay. The evolution lah.
Evolution.
Cik.
I always advocate Southeast Asia, to be honest, right? Even in my days at Magic before, I was part of this department called ACE. As far we always advocate about building great entrepreneurs in Southeast Asia. So I guess that is something that I feel very deeply until today. And if then from whatever I've been doing today, the ultimate goal is really about sharing the amazing stories that are happening in this region, because I feel Southeast Asia is actually the region of the future. I mean, we're already here, and we can bring so much impact to the world by just telling our stories that's happening either in Malaysia or Philippines, Thailand or Indonesia. So the challenges would be, how are we able to unify that together, come together and deliver that strong messaging from this region and to the world that the innovation is happening right here in this region, and how can we attract more innovative companies, investors, ecosystem builders from all around the world to focus their effort here.
I think the one thing that would be a challenge to that would be people worrying that they will lose their identity. Right?
Maybe in some ways, but if you look at the EU, for example, as a bloc, despite, I think they're strong as a bloc, as an EU bloc, right? But in Southeast Asia, I think there's a lot of things that we need to work on, because I think people are still somehow working in silos. But I guess we can look at as a challenge that we can work together with, especially people from all these different countries in this region. So it's just a matter of how do we make sure that we can talk to each other and we can do something great together. Yeah, I think that's my perspective.
I like the fact that you brought that up, working in silos and bringing people together collaboratively. Ahmad, what would you like to expand upon that?
I think we all need to acknowledge that there's pros and cons to being in silos and not being in silos, right? So you have to decide what's appropriate when for you personally. There are sometimes good to be in silos because when you're in a certain silo, everybody understands the language or the culture.
Mm.
You know, that outsiders may not understand. And your KPI is different. How you're measuring your yardstick is different. You know, but there are times where you just have to get out of your silo, man, and you know, build bridges between silos and decide when we're going to withdraw the bridge and when we're going to deploy the bridge. I think.
So, on that perspective, right?
Yeah.
Breaking silos, but also being in silos in order for you to understand, evolve, appreciate things better.
Yeah.
What would be the narrative moving forward for you personally, especially for tech innovators?
For techno,
For tech innovators.
for tech innovators, all right, I think the one size fits all app space is done. You know, things like TikTok that serves everyone, right? So I think if you want to be successful, you need to start to look at niche or sub niche spaces, you know, which is why I went into Recite, because Recite is not one size fits all. You know, out of 7 billion people in the world, is like 1 billion plus, or maybe close to 2 billion now, that will potentially find it useful because it's mainly catered to Muslims, right? So I think you should get into that. I mean, you see like the second wave of apps after the Facebooks and the TikToks and Twitter, or now X, you know, that's where they're going at, and they are finding, you know, it's success. I mean, you look at Settle got acquired kan? Settle got acquired by Petronas, you know, and it's niche, is only in one country. You can only buy from one station, one company, but it seems to be doing pretty well. So
I think lately, right, because of this subsidy and
that
everything,
helped a lot.
Yeah, I think that accelerated.
I think that accelerated them a lot.
Yeah.
But also because they make it so easy, right? You don't have to have multiple apps to do so many things.
Yeah.
That's the thing, you know. It's and they don't tout themselves as a super app.
No,
They just make it, you know, they just position it as a very convenient app for you, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Richard? What would be the narrative moving forward for a lot of our tech innovators now?
For me, it still goes back to storytelling actually. So that's why I don't want to run away from this, because see all these amazing companies. I've spoken to many of them over the last few days. They all have their own stories to tell, and they are actually doing wonders already. It's just that if they don't tell the right story, nobody's going to know about them. So I said, you should, focus on that, share the stories of what you're building, not just from the product perspective, but everything end to end. And we do this all the time because through my social media agency, we do that as well. When we work with companies, we tell them that as long as there are human beings in your company, there are stories to tell. So that's why I feel when I speak to them, I said, hey, you should tell this, because if nobody knows about what you're building, then you might as well say you don't exist. But of course, it is not applicable to everyone, right? But I think, the opportunities are right there.
So last question. Name me one Malaysian startup that you admire individually. You said Settle earlier?
I said Settle. Seems to be the app of the moment lah. Now, man of the match is Settle lah.
Too many actually, to be honest. Yeah, too many. Yeah.
But what
Top of mind.
Top of mind, number one.
Yeah.
And also, a Malaysian startup that can inspire and people can aspire to be.
Okay. So one company that I spoke to at least last few weeks it's called Carbotech.
Okay.
Right. I believe they're actually behind my booth.
Yeah.
So I spoke to Dr. Suraya. I feel that what they're building is something great because they're looking into agriculture and food security. It's a big thing in many countries. I think even for Malaysia. So I guess I believe their solution is able to address that already. But how can we really support them in terms of the narrative? So to do this in a big scale. So I guess that's the one company that I admire right now.
Settle. Thank you so much, Syed Ahmad Al-Haddad, Richard Ker, for being part of Rantis on Air.
Right.
This is a podcast that we are hosting in conjunction with iNation Global Summit 2025, as well as the National Innovation and Commercialization Expo 2025, NICE
NICE25.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
So, guys, join us here. There's still one more day to go. Tomorrow we'll be talking about biotech and deep tech through BioExceed, which is half-day program that will be hosted by Bioeconomy Corporation as well as MTDC. So come over, right? And also, thank you so much to the both of you for being on our show. Thank you so much for spending some time here.
Yep.
There are a lot of amazing technovators as well as startups here that you guys can meet and perhaps maybe collaborate together with.
Yeah, for
Come
sure.
up with a super product. Okay, thank you, everyone. See you again. Nice.